Hello, my name is Olurotimi Osha. I've been doing videos just talking about the swatting I've been a victim of since May 2023. On May 14, 2023, a Howard University professor, Jide Iwarere, who appears to be experiencing dementia, that's what the doctors told me. He assaulted me with another man, a neighbor, an Ethiopian neighbor who appears to be an illegal alien. He cannot speak a word of English. His name's Germa Shumi. That's what I understand his name to be. I'd never spoken with him, never had any interaction with him. May 14, 2023, Jide Iwarere and these two men assaulted me, attempting to physically remove me, assaulted me, Jide Iwarere saying he wanted to take me to go and see a psychiatrist. He said, he believed my job was stressing me out. He first knocked on my door. He first said, well, that he wanted to take me to go out and eat food. And I told him, no, I have food in my home. Um, and then he now said he wanted to take me to go and see a psychiatrist. Of course, that was uncalled for. It was crazy. Just the day before, I dropped the phone on him after I told him that, look, he needs to respect the boundaries I established for him. He's not my uncle, right? He's not my father. We're not related. And he's delusional. I'm an independent person. As of that day, I was gainfully employed working in the federal government, right? I had a new position that I'd been offered, several new positions, several new job offers on the table. I owned a magazine. I owned stuff that I was doing in Nigeria. There are many different things I was engaged in. So I'm a busy person. But this person came, he was harassing me. He refused to accept boundaries I established for him. Um, and of course, I would later learn after being swatted. A swatting is when uh, someone makes a false police report or false emergency crisis report of a hostage crisis or somebody or a bomb threat or somebody being a danger to the public. And it generates a large police presence. And eventually there's a violent interaction and somebody gets hurt or they're killed. So it's a swatting, it's a federal crime, it's a state crime because the person makes a false report. So that was what Jide Iwarere, a Howard University professor, he filed a fraudulent, fabricated emergency evaluation petition, lying that I was a public threat or that I was hallucinating. Since then, of course, I was injured. I was shot on May 16, raided, shot in my home. These are permanent. These scarrings, those are from stitches. The police shot me in the head. They injured me. Tasered me multiple times in my home, falsely imprisoned me, evacuated my building, told my neighbors, lied to my neighbors, spread disinformation. It was a SWAT team that came to harass me. I'd never been arrested before. I'm a law-abiding American citizen. As of that day, I was an auditor in the Department of the Navy. I held a top secret TSSCI, National Security Clearance. I'm a graduate of George Washington University Law School. I hold a Juris Doctor degree, right? I'm law-abiding and peaceful, non-violent. I don't own a gun. I've never owned a gun. But apparently I would, I was, it was an ex parte peace order. It was an ex parte emergency evaluation petition Jide Iwarere got. After I'd been swatted and raided on May 17, the illegal alien neighbor, Germa Shumi, that he had assaulted me with, right, went on to fabricate another ex parte order, a peace order, which I was not around, relying, falsifying, saying that I assaulted him and attacked him. All lies, right? All fabrications. So GDAY is unstable. So while I was at the hospital, because I had no idea why the police raided me, right? I'm not a violent person. I live alone, right? Eventually, the psychiatrist, of course, they established that I don't have a mental illness. I wasn't hallucinating. I wasn't paranoid. They didn't see any, as they put it, internal stimuli. Does not respond to internal stimuli. Is how they put it. That means he doesn't hallucinate. He's not schizophrenic. He's not hallucinating. He's not paranoid. He doesn't have any, no mental illness. They actually wrote it down, told the judge. Immediately there, they apologized to me. The psychiatrist apologized to me. They said I have a legal action. It's up to me to take legal action against Jide Iwarere and the state of Maryland. They apologized. They said they established, what they told me was Jide Iwarere They were calling him my uncle. He's not my uncle. In Nigeria, we just call people our uncle, but he's not my uncle. There's no consanguinity between us. Um, they said he has dementia, but he's in denial, right? And it's astonishing though that even though my family has told the state of Maryland, my mother, my brother, they've told the state of Maryland that Jide Iwarere is crazy. He lied. He's an abusive, dangerous man. My mother's going to file a court document, right, at a high court of justice in Nigeria. She sent it to the Montgomery County, Maryland courts. My pastor sent it to the Montgomery County, Maryland court to make sure they had it. I've sent it to filed these documents with the Montgomery County courts, right? Establishing that Jide Iwarere committed perjury, filed false information against me. My family didn't know. They have information, right, on recording because my mom said this guy had actually told another lie. When my mother found out that I was locked up in jail by the police because she didn't know why, she contacted him trying to find out why am I locked up in jail. He lied to her. It's on recording, the phone, the jailhouse phone, the phone, conversations in jail. Because my mom was having a phone conversation with me from Nigeria. She was asking that, hey, she's telling me Jide Iwarere said the police arrested me for drugs, right? So he told her a completely different lie, told my family a completely different lie, tried to get them to send a letter that they should treat me for mental illness I don't have, that my mother said, she's never given medication before. I've never suffered a mental illness. So he was now trying to get her to write a letter to say they should treat me for a mental illness, right? That they should appeal to me that I should take, because they lock you up in jail. Once they've arrested you, they lock you up in jail and they have psychiatrists. They try and coerce you to take medication. They're saying if you take medication, they'll drop your charges. That's what they do in Maryland to black people, right? The state of Maryland is committing crimes, civil rights violations, human rights violations, it's actually criminal, they're criminal violations, it's criminal conduct because they file false charges. They assault you, file false charges. The police says, well, you assaulted them or you resisted arrest. I haven't been charged with the resisting arrest because they didn't have an arrest warrant. I was in my home. They had no probable cause, right? Their false claims are that they came to my house because of Jide Iwarere saying I threatened to shoot him. Jide Iwarere has since denied this. He's recanted it, right? At no time did I say I'll shoot Jide Iwarere. I don't have a gun. Jide Iwarere is crazy or he's a liar. But the psychiatrist told me he has dementia, but he's in denial. Something I know is Jide Iwarere has misrepresented his age on his legal documents in America, on his passport. I saw his certificate of naturalization. On his certificate of naturalization, his age was younger than my aunt's age, right? I knew that was no way. So I asked my family. My family said, no, that's a lie. A guy he claims is his family. That guy said he's not his family. Jide Iwarere is crazy. He calls everybody his family. We don't really know who he is. He's just some dude. We don't know who he is. Came to marry my mom's younger half sister that my mom had raised in the 70s in Nigeria. Brought her to America. As my mom said it, he brought her and used her as a slave. That my mom's younger sister, my mom said Jide Iwarere was abusing her. I've seen him assault her. Now they worry that, okay, there was a time she went missing, right? And this was what I saw on the internet, that she went missing. The police was looking for her. Greenbelt police was looking for her. They found her in the information they sent out, they published in the news. They said she is in the early stages of Alzheimer's. She might be in the early stages of Alzheimer's. It's clear that she has a mental illness. Her mind is not there. If you see her, you know there's something wrong with her. She's ill. She told me once that she's ill. She doesn't know what's wrong with her. So he might be harming her. We don't know what he's doing to her, right? But the state of Maryland, Montgomery County, is protecting her, protecting him to abuse her. Jide Iwarere tried to have me killed because the police, that's what the police said, that they came to kill me. I was shot in the head. The guy who shot me in the head, Officer Jeffrey Ray, he said his intent was to kill me with his Glock. So he used the wrong thing. He used a taser dart, his taser gun, to shoot me. The judge, James Bonifant, the crooked judge who locked me up for 15 months, placed me under house arrest for a year, failed to dismiss a case that is an instance of malicious prosecution that has no probable cause, no chance of winning. They've said it. We still haven't seen the assault. All the evidence, the body cams shows that I was a victim of the police that had no arrest warrant. They assaulted me. And there's evidence that the petition that brought them was filed by a liar, right? So Jide Iwarere possibly poses a threat, right, to public safety. He's a danger. He was a danger to my life because I was in my home, came to assault me. He went to file a false police report, false emergency valuation petition. That was a swatting. That's a federal and a state crime. The police assaulted me. But I don't know if it's because he's buddies with Judge BBM Berry, the crooked, incompetent judge who signed off on an emergency evaluation petition that didn't show probable cause, right? It didn't establish probable cause. It didn't provide sufficient information to establish probable cause. Didn't have my date of birth, never been hospitalized, never been diagnosed with a mental illness, didn't show any medication, nothing. Didn't show weapons that I had weapons. Didn't even show a threat that I made. Nothing. All Jide Iwarere wrote was that I insulted him. An insult in my home, that I insulted. An insult is not a crime. That's not a threat. He didn't even say what insult it was. He just said I held abuses at him. You know, these are crazy people, and they're crazy. You know, they have crazy judges, incompetent, crooked judges like Judge BBM Berry, risking the lives of law-abiding, hardworking Americans, right? And Jide Iwarere needs to be locked up somewhere. What I'm going to do, what I wanted to do is spend time and read what his students say of him. So many of his students have noticed that Jide Iwarere is unstable, right? As I said, I saw his certificate of naturalization. His certificate of naturalization was a lie. My family and the person he claims is his family in Nigeria has said Jide Iwarere is over 80 years old, right? Around over 85 years old, right? And there's indication his wife is, my aunt, they've all said it. They know his age. They said, no, this guy's over 85 years old. His wife too. So he fabricated his age. So that's another thing. So that means he did certificate of naturalization fraud. He did citizenship fraud, right? Then he committed a crime through the swatting, making false police reports. He did this out of animus, out of envy. When I was in the hospital, because first of all, after you've been shot by the police in your home, removed naked, because on that day I thought I was going to die. So first of all, of course, there's a bandage on my head. The first thing is I'm excited, I'm alive. Because I thought I was going to kill that day. I'm excited, I'm alive. That's the biggest thing. So first of all, and then I want my family, right, to know where I am. So I called him because I remembered his number. I called him and I asked him, okay, to get me my mom's number. I wanted my mom's number to help me tell my mom. He refused. And the first thing he said to me was, when his son, Shaya, was 2 years old, and my mom did something about my mom refusing to help them, right? And my mom came to the US refusing to help them or something. You know, he said this crazy stuff. That's the last thing you should be telling me. It sounded like, you know, the villain in a movie, those horror scripts, you know, serial killers, these villains, the way they act, the psychopath that, you know, takes the mask off. That was how he sounded, right? Eventually I found out, because I didn't even know he was the one reason why cops came to raid me. Eventually I found out it was him. And here he was now trying to lecture me about what my mother did to him. I was shocked. He said, my mom, when his son was 2 years old, my mom came to the US. That son he was talking about that was 2 years old is over 40 years old now. He works in the federal government. He's an attorney. None of his kids have called me, came to visit me in the hospital, came to visit me in jail. And I bought stuff for them for Christmas just 6 months before that, 5 months before. I bought all these things for them for Christmas, for their wives, bought everything, all these things for them for Christmas. Because for some reason, they're always inviting me to their home for Christmas. If I don't come, the woman, they try and guilt trip me that, oh, I think I'm better than them. I should have stayed far away from them, rather, like the rest of my family, because nobody in my family interacts with them. Nobody, right? So I'm just going to read off what his students say about him in student surveys. It's available online, right? These student surveys are important. When I was in school, we used to use it to determine, what professors we should take. So this shouldn't be discounted. It should be taken seriously. Again, Jide Iwarere, what the psychiatrist told me, when they realized that he had lied, he had invented stuff that they couldn't see. Because look, mental illness, good psychiatrists will be able to see it. If you just go and lie, he goes to say, I'm hallucinating. I don't even know that I'm paranoid, that I'm doing delusional. He goes to tell, that's what he goes to write down, right? But a good psychiatrist, immediately they knew that this was a lie. Because they saw me, they could see, they can easily tell. When I was now placed with people that have a mental illness, once you've observed them for a day or two, you can see what is their mental illness. You can see what's wrong with them without even seeing their medical records, right? Because that's what makes it relatively scientific. If it's scientific, right, the outcome, the effects, the whatever it is, the actions will be repeatable. It will be repeated. It's reproducible under the same circumstances, same whatever. It's verifiable. Other people will verify it. It's been 3 years. Like, I've been living with friends, my pastors, 3 years with people, nobody psychiatrist. Nobody has seen the lies of Jide Iwarere that he wrote regarding me. But it's consistent. People have seen that he's been telling one lie after the other. At some point, and it's recorded, at some point he said, he eventually lied. He said it was the police that said, that called him and said I was in a fight with my neighbors and they needed his help to get me into the hospital. I asked him, how did the police know? Your name is Iwarere. We don't live in the same house. My name's Osha. We don't have the same last name. You're not in any of my official government documents that you're my relative, right? You're not my uncle. I have an aunt who's a psychiatrist here in Maryland. Even I hadn't put her on any of my government documents, but she's my aunt. She's actually my blood aunt. She's my mom's first cousin, and she's a qualified psychiatrist. She's a, psychiatric nurse practitioner, qualified to diagnose and treat mental illness. She actually worked in the most prestigious or prominent psychiatric hospitals, right? Why didn't they call her? Even she didn't know where I was. Eventually, she wrote the judge saying, no, I have no mental illness. They didn't even know I had been in a dispute with this guy, blah, blah, blah. She hasn't seen anything. I don't have any history of mental illness, right? Well, this judge, maybe, he's been bribed by Jide Iwarere. I heard Jide Iwarere knows Judge Bibi very well. That's what the police told me, right? Jide Iwarere is the only one who has this cup and bull story, and he keeps changing. So that was what he said. At one point, he now changed it. He said the Navy told him to do it. The Navy. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised because other people say, well, the Navy could have done a false flag operation because, lightning doesn't strike twice. I had filed a fraud complaint against my boss in the office with the Office of Inspector General, Office of Special Counsel. All of this was under investigation, and I had an ongoing EEOC complaint. So these were under investigation. They were ongoing legal proceedings, right? So this is a RICO. That would be a RICO violation. The Navy, of course, the Department of Defense, they've denied involvement, claiming Jide Iwarere is the one who's involved in all of this, right? So, but that'll be a false flag operation. They have plausible deniability, right? Plausible deniability. They're able to deny it. They try and eliminate their connection, but easily one can trace the trail to them. But that's not what I want to do today, right? Today I want to show that Jide Iwarere is mentally unstable and he's dangerous, right? He's a public safety threat. He committed a crime, and the crime is ongoing. I continue to be a victim of the assault of Jide Iwarere and his defamation, because Montgomery County has maintained these false charges against me that they have shown no interest in prosecuting for the past 3 years. It's only there to prevent a lawsuit against the state and prosecution against the rogue cops, Sergeant Charles Drengwitz, Officer Jeffrey Ray, Officer DeMarcus Coleman, and the rest of them, Karen McDonald, all those who assaulted me without cause, used disproportionate force on me in my home. So I'm going to read these surveys. So this is one survey. I'll start from the top, and you can see these on, Rate My Professor, and so this is Jide Iwarere, one of his students. Yeah, this student, and you can see their grades. There's a broad section, of students with a range of grades, with people who got an A minus, C plus. None of them likes this guy. Everybody thinks he's unstable. So this person had a C plus, right? So I guess they'd have a reason not to be happy with him. So he goes, although this professor was a nightmare, right? Although this professor was a nightmare to be taught by, at the end of the day, I just felt sorry for him. He is far too old, right, to be teaching. And I only say this because it is at the expense of the entire class. Be prepared to sit and watch him doodle on the board all class and be confused. Far too old. This guy is in his 80s, but he's lying, pretending he's in his 70s. This person had an A, right? This other person had an A. But look at what he's saying. This person had an A, he or she, might be she, had an A, but see what she's saying. They all say don't, 0%, take the course again. Everybody who responded in all the surveys, lots of people, nobody says we'll take him again. And nobody recommends him. Everybody says don't take him. 0% recommendation. Can you imagine that? And that's a problem in America today, right? We have these baby boomers, these old people. They've worked for a long time. They saved money. It's time for them to retire. Young people don't have jobs. Young people at their primes, qualified when they should be working, they don't have jobs because of these self-centered, egomaniacal baby boomers who are now they're now in their dotage. They're now like infants again. And everybody can see that they're crazy. What Jide Iwarere was, I observed, by the way, I'm also going to mention how I'd already observed that he was unstable, right? So initially I was sorry for him. But when I saw the defamation and look, this guy lied, I hadn't seen what he had written because I'd already noticed that he was unstable, right? I'd noticed it over time from his actions, but I was patient because I'm empathetic towards older people. But given the crime, the defamation, and he's trying to destroy my life. In fact, that's what the doctors said. He's trying to destroy your life, right? I just have to come out with it, right? And be open, especially since I don't have my freedom. I'm not free to go home because I'm waiting for this trial that's been over 3 years. That's been 3 years now. It's not 3 years. It's going on 4 years. It's defamed me. I haven't worked in 3 years. My life was going great. What did my parents invest in me for? What did I invest in myself for? Right? And he just threw me to the dogs, to the racists in the state of Maryland. This is another person. This person had an A. The professor is a little older and I believe has some health issues. So unless you are ready to teach yourself but still show up for attendance, this is not the professor for you. He posted a no syllabus and has one homework assignment for 160 points, but 3 tests. The first 2 tests were online, but the final is in person on paper, so be prepared, right? So this person saying he's a little older and I believe has some health issues, right? It's not physical because if you see him, he moves properly. So the health issues they're already noticing in his class is his mental health. Jide Iwarere is not sane. Okay. Um, this person says, this is another person, does not use Canvas, so all teaching material will be given out in paper packets during class. Unorganized. Can you imagine a professor who's taught for over 40 years? They're saying he's unorganized, does not know how to use technology, and this is true. It's now April, and my grade for the course is still NA because we never had a midterm or any other assignment to turn in. Do yourself a favor and find another teacher, or you will be highly annoyed, right? Nobody recommends him. There's somebody else. This professor means well, but if you can help it, do not take him. You know, he presents himself like a mild mannered person, like a snake in the green grass, right? So you feel sorry for him, even though he's an evil man. He speaks very low, right? He's a stammerer, so it's hard to actually understand him, right? He speaks very low and it is very difficult to hear him. Can you see? It's very difficult to hear him. He is unclear. And the overall structure of the class, right? He's unclear. So somebody I'd seen somewhere, somebody called him incoherent, right? And this was a guy who was calling me incoherent, right? News agencies call me to write for them. Actually, in the Pentagon Department of Defense, I was writing talking points for and playbooks for the CFO of the Department of Defense, right? It's unusual for a white person, the CFO of the Department of Defense, to be asking, right, for them to have a black guy, right, not even born in this country. I'm an American citizen. So they clearly did think I was incoherent. I've been a pundit on television, right? Different media, TV, podcasts have interviewed me. They wanted to talk to me, right? Okay, this is another person. You can tell he's a genuine person, but he needs to retire, right? So he's old and doesn't have PowerPoint, so you basically have to teach yourself. He's so bad that there were only like 6 people in my class the whole semester. Even if he's your last option, don't do it. So I want to stop this video here so you could see people don't think they think he has some kind of mental disturbance, right? Somebody's saying it, he has mental health issues. And something we're not acknowledging in America, we saw what happened to President Joe Biden, right? Old age, there's a decline in mental acuity, right? And this man goes and files something fantastic, fabricated. The state of Maryland should have known. Montgomery County, Maryland should have known he was lying. Or, you know, they say it was a false flag operation here. He was suborned to file this fabrication. He may have done it on his own. I don't know. But the people, the FBI, those who need to be doing their investigation, they need to do it and let me carry on with my life. And this guy, of course, he probably needs to be in a psychiatric hospital taking his medication, or he needs to be in jail, or he needs to be deported because clearly he falsified his pathway to citizenship, right? The age on his certificate of naturalization is not what my family in Nigeria and the people, somebody who he was claiming was his family, says his age is. They say he's much, much older. I know he's not younger than my aunt, right? The age he has on his certificate of naturalization is younger than my aunt's age. Back home, my people, that generation, women didn't marry young. The family wouldn't let you marry a man younger than you. It didn't happen, right? But in any event, I'll stop this video here and I'll talk more about this Jide Iwarere and we don't know who he is. is this Jekyll and Hyde character. We don't really know who he is, and he's been able to pull wool over many people's eyes. He almost had me killed, and his motives remain unclear. But in any event, I'll keep you posted. Thank you.